Bang! Neeves Knives. I'm Jared, and this is the Kubey Veloce, a man Ganas design. Now, I've had some of his designs before, never from Kubey. This is my first one of his designs by Kubey. Now, this comes in a pouch, gives you a nice knife wipe. They do have nice packaging. This is one of their premium models, and I've been excited to get this. I wanted to get this in hand a long time ago, so it's nice to finally get it on the channel. I did purchase this. I purchased mine off of Amazon because you get it for a better price off of Amazon than you can from the Kubey site. So I will link this below. I'm pretty sure I can get the link. Now, let's talk about it, though. Let's get into it. So, we have an S30V blade here. S30V from Kubey. This is my first S30V from Kubey. I've had their S35 and a bunch of other steels, but first S30V. Titanium frame lock. I really like this dimpling right there. That's really cool. Nice bead blasted finish on the titanium. Full back spacer, lanyard hole back there. Let's talk about this action. So, you can see there's a little bit of texturing right there for the lock bar. Lock bar is very comfortable to unlock, and this is extremely smooth. Now, the flipper tab is nicely jimped. The detent is nice and strong. I like the detent on this. Very, very well tuned for the flipper tab. If you can light switch or push button, both works very, very well. Now the reverse flick, you do see you have a nice big hole there, and you have a fuller that runs down. So you can get even more leverage from the fuller down here, but the hole works extremely well. Very, very well. It is very well tuned for both actions. It's a strong detent, which I do like. So instead of it being good for the reverse flick, but light on the flipper tab like some companies do, this one is strong on both. So it winds up being really nice action. And very false shutty. You can also do the thumb flick. Now, people are probably going to look at this and say, man, that blade looks so small for the handle. It is a large knife, very comfortable in the hand. Before I put my finger on the choil, it is nice and comfortable. And then you do have the finger choil as well, which is a nice size one. The plunge grind is done very, very well, so you have plenty of sharpening. Now, the blade is kind of small for the handle. It is kind of unique, but I don't mind getting, unique things. Let's look at the centering. The centering is slightly off, but I have been sitting here flicking it. I did open it up and I was kind of playing with it before I hit the camera on. So that's not a big deal. I looked at it right when it was fresh out of the package and it was centered. So probably just have to turn the pivot a little bit. It's not a big deal. I do like that they don't run Locktight their hardware. So, yeah, no big deal. But the blade. So we have a unique grind here. One, it's kind of a reverse harpoon. And if you look at it when I turn it here, it has a nice thick blade stock. And the tip is nice and thick. However, it's also acute. So you're going to have strength in that tip, but it's going to be still very acute for utility cuts, opening things up. It's going to be a great tip for that stuff. Now, feeling the geometry, that's unique as well. So it's nice and thin back here, but as I go up the blade, it gets thicker and thicker. So it goes from thin back here to thick up here. It tapers up. So, and you can actually see it right here. If you look, you can see how thin it is back here. And we're looking right here at this little area right there. But then when I flip it over to the tip, you can see how thick it is up at the tip. So that's kind of unique, especially that much of a taper. Now that's going to make it where, possible push cuts are going to be a little bit more slicey. You do have a nice bit of belly, so you're going to be able to get some good slicing in. But then the tip is still acute enough for perfect utility cutting while not being fragile. So The milling in this thing, heavy milling, even on the lock bar side. Lots of milling on the inside of there. Fantastic detent. I haven't tested out the clip yet. I'll talk more about that in a review. T6s, I don't know why they did that. I normally never do any complaints in my first impressions because things change, you know, appreciations change and use, you know, after you've used it and carried it. So I don't like to complain about things until the review, but that is one thing I will not change my heart on, is why did they do T6s? Because they do T8s even on a lot of their budget knives. I don't know why on this knife they would do T6s. I don't know. Not that big of a deal. It's only the one and then the clip, which is non-reversible. You can hear this detent. Very nice. Now, the bead, it does have a bead blasted finish. I do prefer stone washed, but not that big of a deal. And S30V is a very it's a nice stainless steel. So yeah, this is a very comfortable position up here and even back here. Surprisingly, I don't feel the clip. So that's kind of cool. I do like the look of it, man. It's very unique. Now, it is a little futuristic, I guess you could say, the look of it. But I kind of like it. You know, I like getting, you know, unique designs sometimes. A lot of times I am into the designs that just work, you know. I get into geometry and other things, but that doesn't mean I don't still like some of these, you know, unique design knives, or, you know, uniquely look. Let's look at the stop pin. Okay, so it has a regular internal stop pin, not an integral internal stop pin. It's a pin, which good size stop pin, no issues there. We have a, is that shouldered? Yeah, it is a shouldered lockup. The lockup is very solid, nice and solid, awesome. I don't expect anything less. Kubey does a pretty good job. Yeah, very impressive. So I'll be testing this thing out and seeing how it, ooh, man. Ooh, I can't pop it. I'm trying to, hold on, let me do that again. Okay, there we go. I couldn't pop it out for some reason. I was going to try to do a slow roll. Maybe I was putting pressure on the lock bar. It's not going to be great for lefties, at least for the reverse flick, because you do wind up touching that lock bar. And if you look at the lock bar, you can see how it's kind of cut out a little unique. I kind of like that. That's kind of cool, but it does make it where you don't, oh, well, I don't know. Well, yeah, I don't think lefties are going to like it, at least not in the reverse flicking grip, because yes, you can do it, but it is very awkward. You're putting your finger on this and not touching the lock bar, and then kind of, because I can't get like this. So, I mean, maybe I can go, I don't know. I'm not a lefty, so for right-handed people, it works great. I also noticed that I have a lot of control from the back of the blade. See that? So when I unlock it, I can drop it or not right there. Let's feel where the detent is really quick. Nice and early detent, so you're always past that. I do like that. Let's feel it. No detent ramp, but that's okay. It doesn't seem like it's necessary. And because of the way this flipper tab is shaped, or the positioning of the lock bar, I notice it drops down quite far for when you do drop it down. Let me see. I guess I could hold it all the way up there, but even if you hold it way up here, it's still past the detent. That is so nice. That's awesome. Personally, the position I like is exactly where that jimping is, which makes it drop down quite far. Which I don't mind. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying, usually when you unlock it, they drop down about right there. and then it drops. Very, very smooth. Loving the action. All right, guys, there you guys go. You can check out the designer on Instagram. He does have an Instagram. You can check out some of his upcoming designs and things like that. Yeah, it's just Manganus Steel. It's that and then steel in front of it for his Instagram. And yeah, shout out to Kubey. I did pay for this though, but shout out to them. They have been a huge supporter of the channel. And yeah, I appreciate you guys watching. Peace.